start heating this thing up before she gets in here because it's going to be a fat lot of useless not to have it. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to Tier Fiend Crafts. As I was saying, it's going to be a fat lot of useless to have a hot wire tool that is not heated up whenever it's time to use it. However, we are joined tonight by our friends from, I'm about to cover my face, but it's all good, Reaper Comics, as well as our friend Richard. And then over on that side, our friend Chaz and my lovely wife behind me. At some point, Jared will be back inside. We are working on a couple of different things tonight. Most of what we're going to be working on is the diorama pieces for Rachel's diorama that she had won during the giveaway. However, we have run into a slight conundrum that I was not...
Snafu?
Yeah, I wasn't really... I didn't put enough forethought into the material that we used for a base. It wasn't a bad choice. However, now it requires us to go back and do some adjusting. When we first started using it, the warp to it wasn't bad. Now we have a bow, a really bad bow. Like, whoa.
Hi, Mom.
Like that.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom. That one's pretty bad. So we are going to do some cutting, and then we are going to show you guys how to remove a warp from something like this. Now, because of the foam that's already on it, it's not going to be a perfect fix, but it'll be a much better fix than we have right now, and we can add stuff to the bottom of it to adjust out. Hey, look, we actually have a Jared in frame, and truthfully, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to swing that over. Say hello, Chaz.
Hello, Chaz.
All right, so if you are joining us after the little bit of work we're going to do on this live, we will be going over to Twitch and we will be gaming.
Our gaming is not friendly for Facebook.
Yeah, we won't be able to show it on Facebook, sadly. But if y'all want, come and join us over there on Twitch whenever we go do that, and I'll remind you guys again whenever we get done with this live. So we are going to play some Munchkin, and we might end up.
Whoever's on Twitch.
Who's on Twitch?
Not me.
It's not you.
Is it Sam?
It might be Sam.
I mean, he can still write in the comments.
I was fixing to say he should be able to
You on Twitch too,
view on Twitch.
You're
Nope.
not allowed to.
Oh no, that's because it's kicking me through.
Did you just kill everything?
Through Restream. No,
No, he's still
Okay.
on.
it's right there. And hopefully the video feed is a little bit better today than it was the other day.
Yeah, we're still good.
Good, that's a plus. Hopefully we keep a consistent frame rate for tonight's live, because I reset the router, so hopefully...
And I'm not on, so hopefully it'll
Well, we
slow you down.
set the... Hi, Chaz. Hi.
How's it
Oh, wow.
down there?
That was not what I wanted.
Oops.
Oops.
Yes.
What did you do?
I don't know what I did, aside
Jeez.
from trying to sign into Twitch real quick.
Huh?
We're just watching.
I've got to remember what my password was, because I may or may not have...
Password?
No,
Yeah, no, his passwords
are ridiculous. Oh, that's why. Oops. That one should be right.
My hair was just
Let's
cute.
try it. Nope, that one's incorrect too. What the deuce?
What'd you do? Look at you.
Yeah, I know.
You messed it up.
Apparently, I
Made
can't
it too
remember.
hard for you to even.
I did. Apparently, I
Oop, loops.
think that's correct. Yep, that's correct. Continue. Ugh. Ooh, I echoed. I didn't want that. TYRFNGCRAFTS. Now let's see if this works. Because if this works and I get the link, wrong one. That's the one I want. Okay.
Oh, goodness.
Bless you.
Why are you messaging a group of people
didn't
that are
mean
all
to.
right here?
Listen.
Remember to share the live with your friends. That way they can join in on our awkward chaos. Because
Excuse me.
this group is full of...
Hi, Kendra.
Well, hello, Kendra.
Oh, what am I
Oh,
doing?
let
They
me-
can't see me.
I don't...
Yeah, they can.
No, they
Yeah?
can't.
Oh,
So
never mind.
I can swing that way, and you can see Richard and part of Rachel before the microphone hits her. And we'll swing back somewhere over in this region where Jared's head pokes in there.
He's like your little good one over here, and I'm like the bad one over here.
He's the angel and you're the demon?
Which is surprising.
Yeah. Jared's usually more calm than I'm. Hi, I was trying to show my son your art. Well, that's amazing. We're so happy that you're bringing your kids into this. What are we doing today? I can't remember.
We are going to be working on Rachel's diorama, which I'm not working on. She is. I am currently trying to get signed in on Twitch specifically so we can see who's watching over on Twitch. So give me just a moment. And
Oh, ooh, that's
for mushrooms and giggles, we'll see if that works.
not what I was trying to do.
Yep, mushrooms and giggles. Alright, so apparently that worked on there.
There's no one on Twitch but me.
So you are on Twitch?
Now he is.
Okay. Well, thank you for signing in over on Twitch so I could see that. You go.
Bye. Go back.
Joey.
All right, let's get our stuff in.
Yep.
We can figure out.
We're gonna figure out Twitch here in a little bit, and whenever we do,
Is it your new password?
that one should
Just
work.
hit enter.
But
You drive me bonkers.
I do. I know I do.
Totally nuts.
So totally crazy.
Hello.
My hair's getting tight today.
What am I waiting for? A 6-digit code that hasn't been sent to me.
That's why I said just go to do the live.
Okay.
You-
So-
you're losing people.
I know. I got distracted.
Rockwell.
Okay. So
I told you I know him.
hold up.
Matt.
Rockwell knows.
Him.
Yeah,
he used
we
to
grew
live
up
by him.
together.
Oh well.
It's a
Interesting.
small world.
It is. It's a very small world.
Hi,
right,
Matt
so-
Kermit.
We are going to go down to the table. We're going to start working on the foam side of things because
Straight
I
up.
believe we should be
Hater.
heated up.
You should do that.
We should be. Go ahead and try sliding through some of that foam. Oh yeah, we're heated up. All right, so we are
These
going
gloves, we got
to.
gloves behind you, Reach.
They're right next to
Yeah,
me.
she has some next to her. Wrong one. I need that one. All right,
There
so
we go.
here we are at our face view. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this. And sadly, it's a little too short for what we are going
Careful,
for.
you're really close to Rachel's fingers.
I know. I was
I was
watching.
just telling you.
Just do one side and then the
I
other.
don't need an accident.
So
on
what
the
we are
face
going
mask.
to do is we're going to go piece by piece. We're little bits at a time instead of trying to gouge out whole mass chunks and quantities of this. On the upside, we will be going back through with some spackle to even it out.
Sounds really cool, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
It was like really relaxing.
And again,
I know, that's what I was saying. It's kind of
all
like
we're doing is
soothing.
getting...
So this line and this line, right?
Yep.
Like
All
a-
we're doing is getting
This
bits
voice
by
is
bits.
real
My voice is soothing. My voice is about as soothing as it's really not.
Oh, slow down.
Yeah, slow.
was like,
Keep it slow. That way we're not
This is one has zero patience.
boring into your fingers. And areas like this, we can definitely texture that out and amp it up.
Let's take Nikki's hand out.
Yeah, let's not take my hand out. I would like to keep my phalanges in good working order, please and thank you.
Your phalanges.
All right, so now that I am up over here, I don't need you to. Oh yeah, I forgot. All of my stuff is signed in through my Prime. Huh. Interesting. That I didn't realize that.
All the Nikki's.
Yep. All right, go to my channel.
My goodness.
And I am currently live seeing Rachel chop up foam. And all we're really going for right now is to knock off the major chunks of this to try and give it more of a definitive swoop shape.
A swoop? That tool. What's that tool called?
That is a hot wire cutting tool.
Where can you get it?
I got this one at... I believe I got this one at Hobby Lobby.
Yeah, you did.
I know you can get them on Amazon. And if you give me just a second, I will give you a rough price range. Because I know for me, whenever I bought it, it was a lot more than what it would have been if I would have bought it online. Hot
Looked at it
wire
before
foam cutter. Would you look at that? Okay, so these run about $28, $25 to $28 for a simple set.
Kendra's saying my son works with clay.
I am planning on at some point getting into clay work. I have some epoxy
Hi, Autumn.
clay and stuff. Hi, Autumn.
Whatever, and that thing goes.
I've got a pottery wheel.
Oh.
Oh no, no, definitely not.
You know how long it takes to
Okay,
start?
so for a set almost identical to the one that Rachel is using now, there is a set on Prime for $19.99, as well as some others. Truthfully, the only one of them that is actually probably needed is this one, because you can do just about everything that Rachel is doing now with one of these. The longer one just
Hi, Sam.
makes it easier to knock out some more stuff. All right. So where Rachel is at now with it, it might be easier to switch over to this tool. Just because this one will make it a little bit easier to get a more defined, even cut on some of these areas that are bowed up.
My older son wants making a 3D figures.
Like with the 3D printer, or
Like with a
Yeah.
3D printer
Our-
or with the foam
Because there are
Clay.
a variety of ways that you can go about.
or with just the clay.
Ooh.
Or digital.
any of our dogs out?
No, all of our dogs are inside.
Oh, that's nice.
Right.
Do you mind giving me my other coffee?
I mean, I
Sorry,
can't.
have to
I
ask
currently
you.
can't
You'll
afford
have to
that
get
one,
out.
but that one's a 4-in-1 hot wire tool for
Not
roughly
epoxy. I forgot
37.
the name. Resin?
or plastics.
We are kid friendly, Kendra. We don't cuss or anything like that. On the live,
On the Facebook Live for sure.
on the Facebook especially.
Yeah. Now, once we get to the after show, things are a little bit different, but
Okay, so
All right.
just pull this off and put the other one in.
so once you've gotten
Fine,
to
I'll
that
just
point
stick it behind Nick.
and you're trying to
Yeah.
slide down, instead of sliding that out, you can find a
That's what I've been
a
doing.
generalized point where you think it'll flow right.
It's the first time I've ever used one. So.
Oh yeah, and nick out a few pieces, but I think in this instance, turn it off first. Make sure you turn it off. Richard, can we do this?
Richard, do you want me to move?
Can we do this without hurting ourselves?
No. That would be,
What
you
is
know.
this styrofoam for?
Okay, the foam itself will be used for making a
Halo ring.
a halo ring. Once this heats up, then we'll go in and we can start more defined
Okay.
shaping, which this is long enough that you might actually be able to run it sideways along that curve and then just follow that curve, just clip out, and then where it's clipped out at, then you can judge that on the other side.
Yeah.
With the back end, especially down here on the bottom,
Yeah.
Don't let Richard do
you'll have to remember
lose a digit or two.
you'll have to remember that you do want
Damn,
something
you're dying
in the
just a
back
second ago.
that will allow you to have sort of a foot.
Yeah.
So maybe clipping down to about here should be enough of a foot with the curve to where it'll hold a little bit more stable. But for this, you know I don't like watermelon.
Well, there you go, baby.
And you feed me a watermelon candy. For this specific project, Rachel has not built a diorama before, and so we are more or less teaching her how to build the diorama. And we will be combining some of our skill sets as the diorama goes along. My skill sets are heavily geared at the terrain and diorama building. Rachel's skills are geared more at the epoxy stuff, which I don't know how to do yet.
Rachel's
And-
been learning.
Rachel has been learning for
A couple of months now.
couple months now, so she has a more defined understanding of it than I do. The foam pieces themselves were glued together last week using PVA glue, which we are going to be showing you another use for PVA glue here in a little bit, which I should probably move that out of the way to where what little bit of residual heat's not burning into the cord itself. And if need be, we can actually fill in with scrap foam before we get to the spackle to
Right.
where we have a nice defined curve
Yeah, we're gonna have to.
before we get way in depth. Which the way it is now would make an interesting looking cliff face for sure, but not exactly what we are going for. We are going for the shape of a halo ring, and we will be doing some very intricate terrain work once we get all the flowy foam off of my hands. There it
I
goes.
invited Rockwell over tomorrow after work.
I don't get off until...
When he gets off, you're going in.
Oh, okay.
So you get to miss your heavy days.
Oh, man. Darn. That's fine.
I
So-
mean, it's not like he does it right.
Okay.
Do we need to
So,
throw some more in the back?
now that we have that done, let me see that. We can take this, and since we have a generalized area of where we're trying to hit on both sides, kind of graded out, which this side's way in more than this is, but we can fix that and work it out, and we'll taper this down to even it out in a minute. This tool specifically is more for definitive areas where you're trying to make sure you get things more.
It would have been useful when I was doing what? Diorama for school.
Yeah. And hot tools are useful, very much so.
Be wearing masks.
Probably. That is one thing that I do not have on hand, and that is,
Safety third.
yeah, that is
Wear
not a good
masks and
thing.
gloves,
Make sure you
guys.
wear masks.
Eye protection.
Eye protection for sure. If you are a kid, definitely make sure you have an adult around whenever you're doing this, because this tool gets quite hot.
That is an understatement.
Yeah.
I mean,
I can feel the
truth,
heat over
yeah,
here.
you're melting into the same stuff that styrofoam cups are made out of.
And it has such a pleasant odor.
It does. It
That's why you're supposed
has.
to wear a mask.
Yep. It has an extremely egregious odor.
Right.
And with every little bit you nip off of it.
Where do I buy giant styrofoam?
Okay. Depends on where you live.
Probably Lobby has some.
Kendra's in the city.
Okay.
Just
You
don't
can
say what city.
you can buy it at a craft store.
Or find somebody that just bought a big PT.
The problem is if you buy it at a craft store, it's going to be kind of pricey. You can buy it at a home improvement store, Lowe's, Home Depot, stuff like that, and it will be cheaper. Unless it's the middle of winter, and then it's not going to be cheaper. It's actually going to be quite a bit more expensive. The reason for that is because this is technically just insulation foam. If you live in colder states, things like that, it's easier to get a hold of extruded polystyrene instead of expanded polystyrene. Polystyrene is just the little plastic beads that this is made up of.
Just tell him if his wife won't let him come over, and then let him come over.
Yeah, it's not that. He's...
No, it's just a joke. Just tell him what percentage
You could just...
project.
The expanded polystyrene is fairly cheap, comparatively speaking. Like, you can get this stuff for a lot cheaper than you'll get extruded. Extruded is what a lot of terrain builders use. Where we live at, it's not exactly as easy to come by. And since we are in the middle of winter, it's even less easy to come by. And so, even if you don't have one of these, though, you can still do the exact same thing. It's just this makes it a little quicker and a little easier. Richard, can you do me a favor and get in that box? And there should be a hobby knife in there.
I like this tool. It looks fun.
It is, but it's not at the same time. this tool has a lot of upsides and a lot of downsides.
So.
Both of them. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to move my chunky butt over to this side of the table. Where? Oh.
Just keep me. Don't pay attention to this.
Alright, for this, I'm going to be using a standard hobby knife. This one specifically was, I believe this one I got at Hobby Lobby as well, because I'm not saying I have an issue. I'm just saying I have an issue. And very gingerly, we're going to cut this down.
Gingerly
Yes.
instead of gently.
You know what, lady?
No, gingerly works on that statement.
Gingerly does work on that statement. We are just taking off little bits. And so this can do the exact same thing that a hot tool is able to do. This just makes it a little bit easier to get a clean,
Trim the fat.
yeah, a clean cut and trim the fat. Which, if you don't have one of these and all you have is something like a non-serrated steak knife or kitchen knife, something like that, you can do the exact same thing and achieve the same results. If you're trying to get something to look more stone-like, I will be redoing the terrain building videos that I had done earlier on in the lifespan of the channel, but use a piece of scrap foam real quick. If you're trying to do something that is more rock-like, quote unquote, you can take your cutting tool, cut in on one side, and then just pick out at it, and it'll have more of a natural sort of swoop and whoosh to it. Just be careful doing it. It also works if you're doing, say I want to add a deep crevice to, say, a rock face. Little bits at a time. You can pick out whichever side you want to be the flatter side, be it the overhang or the under. You can easily shape out and adjust to get a nice gouge in stone, quote unquote. For this, all we're trying to do is get a rough shape. We will end up going in and adding two with spackle, stuff like that. Helps if you lock the blade.
Usually.
Right. And having a sharp blade always comes in handy. Downside with foam is no matter how you go about it, it's squeaky, it's noisy. And you can do the same thing where you cut into it a little bit and cut off chunks. And doing that still works. And clean cut. And so whenever it's resting, once we get done with it, it will have a distinct curvature to it. Which that one's more flat than curved, but we will get there. Bit by bit, piece by piece, we are going to get this adjusted up to where it needs to be. However, that is as far as we're going to be able to take this currently, because we're not going to be able to do a lot with it until it's glued down. Once it's glued down, it'll be easier to kind of bolster that up.
Tarzan was in the bedroom.
I know. And give us one moment. All right, sorry about that. We are back. Okay. We, as far as what happened to my knuckle, when I went to D&D today, I may or may not have slipped on ice and fell into concrete.
Oh.
Yeah. And then I put a oh wait, I can't say that on Facebook.
Band-Aid.
I put a Band-Aid on it just so it wasn't bleeding on the table, but other than that, that was about as far as I went with that. Okay. So, now that we've gotten about as far as we're going to get with this one for today, we have the leg on the back, which is good. That was really what we needed to get, was that curvature in the back started to where we can figure out exactly where we need to plane down to. Once we plane it down, we can make the adjustments to the front that are needed to give it the full curvature. And the glue on the sides, we can easily taper that down. And it'll end up changing the profile a little bit as far as whenever it's this direction. It'll end up being a little bit more narrow, but we'll end up working it out to where
Yeah.
we're able to glue up a wall or something. And then this will get painted to match whatever the base color is.
Yeah.
As far as the rest of this goes, this one is done. For now. This one is the one we have to worry about.
Kendra said, thanks for the info, guys. Oh, and my son said he is casting and molding.
Okay.
Oh.
That is cool.
That is awesome. Okay, so
I'm
now...
glad he's into arts and crafts.
I need to learn how to do that so I can make my own molds for resin.
Right.
Right.
Alright, so...
Then you can make a resin lightsaber.
Ooh. Don't get me started. You know how
Right.
I am.
Mr. Chess,
Take me up there to see you.
Mr. Nikki.
because you are able to get through here a lot easier than I am,
Yeah, I can't get through.
could you possibly go
And
throw
Richard's
this in the
falling
trash
through
bin?
tables.
Yeah, Richard's falling through the table.
I will see how this works out.
I got it. You got this.
You got this. You're welcome, Chaz. I'm sorry. Okay, so for this part, what we're going to do is we're going to make sure it's cleaned off.
Look at my life.
And then we are going to take some Mod Podge. Truthfully, anything watered down will work. And we're going to coat the board itself with it. And as it dries, it should pull it back into shape where it should be. And we are just little bits at a time going to...
Such a beautiful painting, Nikki.
It is. It is beautiful.
You're so totally awesome, swear.
So totally awesome.
Everything is.
And it doesn't need to be a thick coat of Mod Podge or anything like that. Again, all we're trying to do is get a little bit of moisture into the board itself.
Right.
To where it will allow that warp to pull back in the opposite direction. Now, most of the time, I'm using MDF instead of polyboard or plywood or anything like that. It works, but it's not my preferred. You have less warping issues with MDF. It will warp. It's not warp proof, but it's not as comparable, or it's not as whatever the word is that I just spaced on. It's not as susceptible to warping as plywood is, which, to be fair, plywood is nothing but sheets of wood that are glued together anyway. But now that we've got the back end coated, let's get that off your arm so we're not gluing your shirt.
Oh, I'm good. It'll peel off later.
Right?
It's fine.
Yeah, it will. And that's the wonderful thing about PVA. PVA stands for polyvinyl acetate. If you don't know what that means it's school glue. Alright, so now that we've got that done.
Hi, Jessica.
Hi, Jessica. Can you hand me the wax paper that I believe is...
Is that what you slipped on?
I don't think so.
It's right here.
I was fixing to say, I believe it's sitting in the floor. Alright, so now what we're going to use is just cheap wax paper. For this, we are going to be putting the waxy side on the board. The wax won't adhere as bad to the glue. Which side is the waxy
I
side?
don't know.
Go to the shiny side.
Yeah.
Is it the shiny side?
Yes, it's the shiny side.
The shiny side's the waxy side. Okay.
We're all doing good. Thanks for asking, Jessica.
Okay. So once we get it on there,
Richard's here.
we're gonna try and flatten it out as best we can. Kind of like you would a vinyl or something like that. Whenever you're applying a vinyl to something.
Got a credit card?
Let me.
Or
I'm pretty sure we have something that'll work.
just a card.
Yep. How about
Your
I got
library,
it.
your library card will work.
I got it.
Oh, we've got that.
He's just dropping all the cards.
Right? Throwing everything everywhere.
See? Richard is Sonic. I told you.
All right, and all we're gonna try and do is get some of the wrinkles out of it.
Look out, Morgan. He's gonna do your rings of power.
You need to watch that too.
Whatever.
The Rings of Power. Yeah,
Yeah, I watched it.
that was a good series. Yeah, that's a spot of CA glue that is on the bottom of the board that I forgot was there. This board was initially intended for
Another project.
another project a few years ago, and I figured it would work better for what Rachel has going on now than it would have been. Once the wax paper is on there, we can set something on top of it, weigh it down. That way, as it ooh, tore up the paper.
I know. I'm horrible for
All right, guys.
It's okay.
I'd love to see the outcome. Have a good night.
You have a good night too.
Sorry.
The outcome probably won't be for another couple weeks, so you've got quite a while before we're actually done with this one.
That's probably about as good as it's gonna get.
Yeah, I think that one's as good as it's going to get. So what I'm going to do,
Let her know that every Thursday you go live.
yes, I do. I go live every Thursday on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube.
And we're gonna be doing it on Tuesdays.
And we are
for
trying
this.
to, we're trying to get to going on Tuesdays with Rachel's stuff as best we can whenever I'm not getting phone calls saying, hey, I need you.
She said, "Coolio."
Rest in peace, Eric.
In his one little.
Yeah. Paradise.
Throw weight on top of that. Now, Rachel and I are going to switch spots
Okay.
so she can teach me how to do resin stuff, because this is something that I have not.
You were gonna do your flowery stuff
Yes.
first.
Okay, so before I start putting any resin in here, yeah, it is. It's going to be hilarious because I have absolutely zero knowledge of how to do resin. I haven't. I bought a resin kit and never did get around to using it. For this one though, I'm thinking the Well, I don't know. If I'm wanting to go for more of a, I don't want to go for more of a swampy look, but more like a pond or a lake.
Is that your boulder? That's a nice boulder.
That's a nice boulder. All right. For this,
Not to control buttons.
I can't with you.
okay.
Same name, Kirsten Crafts.
Yeah.
On Twitch. So you just all one word.
Yeah, it'll be all one word instead of being split up like it is on the channel
On the Facebook.
or on the Facebook and on the YouTube. After we get done here, which we're not going to be going for too much longer, and we will be going into the after show on Twitch specifically.
Join us.
Yes, join us as we are going. What are we playing again?
Munchkin.
Munchkin.
Marvel Munchkin.
Marvel Munchkin specifically.
With some Deadpool.
Yeah, with some Deadpool and X-Men.
Do you need any rose petals or lavender?
For this, no.
I'm just letting you know. I have some.
Oh no, thank you, sweetie.
You're welcome.
For this, all I'm really going to be doing is adding a little bit of grass and tufts coming up out of certain areas to where whenever the resin does go in, it'll end up.
Be right back.
Okay, take your time.
Speaking of which, Becca's been MIA lately.
She got a job.
She has a job.
Yes.
She's working at WeChat.
Okay, that one's going to be tucked off in that corner.
That explains why she said what she said.
When it comes to terrains,
About getting
where'd those
The tweezers?
tweezers go?
They should be over there. They're with.
But she's pretty much booked by that candy.
I've been called worse.
Yeah, she had told me that
Where?
some. Yeah, I'll tell y'all out the camera.
Where did they go, Rach?
Should know all the resin stuff.
Oh, was it up here?
Hi, Jessica. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Did I put it back in the box?
You might have the boxes right there.
No, tweezers are not in the box.
Tweezers.
Jesus.
I'm looking for the tweezers that she had pulled out of the
Resin box.
box.
Are they under the gloves?
Well, if you find the rabbit, you went too far.
Right?
Hell no.
There's all the cups. It might have been in that stuff that Richard tripped over. It was.
I told you he fell over the tweezers.
He fell over everything. Everything the light touched, Richard fell on.
On and over.
Right? Alright.
Jessica's back.
She is. She is back. Alright.
I'm wearing this on the game.
For this,
No fear, Richard.
even though it's got the glue bits on the back of it,
Yeah.
adding a little extra glue always comes in handy. Darker colored tufts and foliage is generally going to be in areas where water is going to pour in and settle.
Right.
Your lighter colored stuff is going to be up closer to where you're getting more sunlight, things like that.
Wouldn't that be the opposite with plants? Because when plants have more sunlight, they're darker.
Generally. When it comes to grass, though, grass is where it gets weird because grass is usually a variety of colors anyway.
Well, this is D&D anyway.
Exactly. It's all fantasy. And we're gonna add a touch of glue to the back of this too, because that one is gonna be. No, we're not.
What? I love man shorts.
I don't disagree. Which
I love man shorts.
the way things are going, I don't know how much longer they're gonna be doing the stuff that they've been doing.
I I hope they keep. I love their show.
I know Matt Mercer and everyone from Critical Role will still be doing their stuff, but that's partly because they're contracted to do it. They don't have a choice.
Yeah, but they get to have fun and make money.
That's true. However, Matt Mercer surprised me. Matt Mercer may or may not have gone on and done an interview where he pretty much told Wizards of the Coast how stupid they were without telling them how stupid they were in the most professional way possible. So that was a thing.
My pay grade, sir.
I found it quite comical. He did say that Critical Role will be continuing to do the stuff that they've been doing. What is it? It's the 9... I can't remember the name of it. Me and Andrew were talking about it this morning. But that has been approved. I think it's been approved for a series, not for anything other than that. So we may end up getting another Critical Role series on Amazon Prime here soon. That would be interesting.
So when you use the Mod Podge, when it dries, is it dry clear?
Yes. Almost all PVA will end up drying clear. Unless it's a specific colored PVA, like the Gorilla Glue wood glue, it's
Right.
still PVA. There's no major difference between it and the tacky glue or the Mod Podge. Mod Podge is a little bit more. What's the term that gets? There are a couple of different terrain makers that have used the term. It's posh PVA because it's still PVA glue. It's not any different from standard PVA glue.
Put your shrubs down.
Except for it's a little bit more
Watery?
watery. And actually,
Dry fast?
no. Most PVA will dry in about 24 hours.
So you're not even going to be able to pour the resin?
Oh, no.
because
We will be able to pour the resin. It'll dry enough to where we can pour the bottom layer of resin
Oh.
in the tray, and it's not going to affect it too much because
Are you
there's
gonna heat
nothing
the
low
resin?
enough. Huh?
How are you going to heat the resin?
You don't have to eat the resin.
You don't have to heat it.
I thought you had to heat it to get the bubbles out.
No.
No.
That's you can
Pour
use
it first.
you pour it first, and you can actually use a lighter. You can use a heat gun. You can use your breath.
Yeah.
I'll say, I have a blow dryer.
That'll work too.
Not to mention, we do have a heat gun sitting right there on the table.
Oh, okay. I was just asking a resin question.
I know.
I was just answering your resin question.
And
I was
all of the green that I'm going to add outside of that is not going to be in the base. It'll be up here along the top of it. So
Bring the base.
it is done as far as foliage goes for now.
For the moment.
So what we're going to do is we're going to put these back up.
Okay.
Put the thingy there. And then
Yes.
Too bad you don't have like any water lilies or anything.
I do have some. What are they? Meadow flowers and lowland shrubs, but I don't think either one would actually be very comparable for this. I mean, the meadow flowers maybe, but I think those would be more up around the top of it. And if we're pouring in an epoxy, I could use the lowland shrubs to add a couple of spots in here where it looks like there's weeds or what's the seaweed and stuff.
Seagrass?
Seagrass, yeah, that stuff that you pick out of your butt when you go to the beach. Yeah,
Well, that's seaweed.
That's
but
seaweed.
He said you pick out your butt. That's gross.
I'm pretty
We've been
sure.
swimming.
I'm pretty sure that's where food that's wrapped in it. That's how they get it. Is they harvest it by going out into the water and.
Did they just chop it out? What are you talking about? You're talking about getting seaweed
Kelp?
in the butt crack.
Yeah,
kelp.
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 See,
And we're not going to add a lot of these. I think.
So that's like what, HO scale?
Huh?
Like HO scale?
sea kale.
Maybe in.
I like kale.
Like
So
it's a
how
little
deep
too
do you
big.
want to pour it?
And I like seaweed.
I like sea.
I think
So do the dogs.
pouring
they
to
eat
maybe
from
like right
crabs.
here
Okay.
Dang
with the
dog.
bottom layer, and then not much higher with the top layer.
Oh, she likes
Would
that.
end up
Mini
looking
rice
good.
bowls.
Not to mention, we could do the bit where we pour a little bit in,
Mm-hmm.
then once it's cured, paint in it, and
You can.
then go up a level, but
Layers.
layer it up. But again, I don't want to go too high because this is meant to
Be a dice tray.
roll dice in. So we definitely want to keep it shallow,
Okay, so we're gonna start with probably 2 ounces, so an ounce of each,
an ounce of each, which
and then we can always make more.
with an ounce of each, that would be
Balls wouldn't make a big difference.
the
This
line on the cut, which let's see if I can get the camera to focus. Shooby dooby doop. Nope, because my fingers are in the way.
these are this is
These
a,
are a
Those
2-ounce
sauces.
cup. So we're gonna go to
There's our stone.
This line? with the
part A, and then the other two.
yeah
are part B.
with the resin, and then we'll go to the second with the hardener. So I'm going to slide this back.
So you're gonna
Those are dwarves and hands.
these.
They are.
This is a 1-to-1 ratio. There's all the way up for like 3-to-1.
Okay.
So it depending on what kind of resin you're using. You always want to follow the instructions. This is some of it's by volume, some of it's by weight.
Okay.
This is by volume.
And before I do
Put your
this,
gloves on
glove
because
up.
you don't want it all over you.
Yeah.
Don't be Rachel.
Don't be Rachel. Got it.
It's okay. Nick always has
Don't.
Again, folks, remember, always use proper
PPE.
proper PPE. Okay, so with this one, we're going.
Put it on the table. You want it level.
Oh, okay. So we're going.
All scientific and everything.
Wyatt likes doing this with me because he feels like a mad scientist.
Right.
Josh
So
likes
measure
like
to the
this girl
meniscus?
crazy one day.
Pretty much.
He's like, "What are you gonna do with the resin today?"
I know what he's talking about.
Don't scoot back too far.
I know.
Please don't break my.
Break what?
The glass behind you.
You're there.
You're good. Should be.
Yep.
Rachel line. Okay.
How many bottles have you
The
made today?
meniscus.
I'm not gonna tell you what I used my measuring cups for.
Yeah, we can't talk about that on.
We don't talk about Bruno.
No.
I don't know whose dogs are going freaking absolutely nuts, but it's not our dogs outside.
Okay. Good. Now,
So 1, 2, 1. Do I want the big one to stir with, or do I want the little one to
it
stir
doesn't matter.
with? Okay.
You can use whatever you want.
And we slowly stir to mix it all
You want
together.
slowly stir. You want to make sure you scrape the sides and the bottom because that's where it's gonna
It's going to gather and culminate.
and not mixing well.
Oh, it looks
Okay.
like a jelly already.
It does, but it'll clear up as you're mixing.
Okay, and then when do you add the? Do you mix it first and
You
then
will-
add the pigments?
Yes, mix it first. Now, when you're adding the pigments, you have to understand you don't need a whole lot, just like a couple of drops, but it's going to look darker in the cup than
Then
it
it
is on
does
here.
whenever it cures.
So I would put a little bit on, see if that's the right color. If it's not, add a few more drops.
Okay. Now, how do you know whenever it's completely mixed?
Slower. You have to mix slow. Because when you mix fast, you're putting bubbles in it.
So the slower you mix, less bubbles. The faster you mix, you add more bubbles.
Yes.
Bubbles are bad
Bubbles are bad.
Unless you want bubbles.
Unless you want-
bubbles.
Yes.
Which I think for a lower pour that we're going to be doing another pour on top of after it cures, I think
Yeah, but then it can crack right there.
Slow down, buddy.
I think bubbles would.
He doesn't know how to go slow.
Like I said, make sure you're scraping the sides and the bottom of the cup. Because that's where it's going to
Congeal.
and not be you'll get
Turbo top.
hardener you'll have hardener or the
The hardener will end up
and,
outweighing in some ways.
and it won't you need it to mix properly so that it'll actually set properly.
Okay.
Go away, fly.
It's because we redid our.
Maybe it's bad that the only epoxy I've actually used is the 2-part epoxy that you get at the in the tube where
Maybe it
it's
was 'cause all of us were on it.
it's the two mixes that you
Yeah.
squirt together.
Usually sold next to the JB well.
It usually takes 3 to 5 minutes at least.
Of stirring.
Yeah.
Now I get why all these YouTubers that do this stuff end up using stuff like a drill.
If you're gonna do big stuff, you want to use the drill.
Yeah.
I have one on my Amazon list where it's kind of like a Dremel tool,
Mhm.
but it's for mixing resin.
Electric hand mixers.
It's like
And-
a little electric hand mixer
And
with
this is-
silicone paddles.
okay. Because it won't stick to the silicone
Yes.
completely, and you can pull the
With,
silicone off.
with silicone, once it dries, you can just peel it off.
Okay.
And like I said, if this isn't enough resin, we can just
Pretty sure
make
your
another
phone
batch.
breaks
Well, I'm
down.
sure this will be enough for what we're trying to do.
Is it-
Because this is just to coat the bottom. This
Hand me my
isn't
phone.
Yeah.
going to be a...
So what colors were you wanting, so I can get them out?
Something darker for the bottom, not like uber dark, but like a dark blue and a dark green, something to make it look more like a pond instead of looking like
Sapphire blue and grass green.
grass green would probably work really
Okay,
good.
sapphire blue and grass
4
green.
flights of stairs.
Your phone did?
And do I need to pour it into one of the other poury cups, or can I pour straight out of this?
You can pour straight out of that.
For a reason.
If you were gonna do something where you needed more control, I would use one with the spout. But since what we're doing,
It doesn't need the control, so
let me see it.
I know, but we have kids.
Makes it a little bit longer.
yeah, I'm working on that.
This is why I have my son help me.
Yeah, I get that.
He's my mixer.
Yeah,
He's my mixer.
because
Yes.
arthritis sets in, and shoo.
Oh, trust me, I know.
Them old age problems, folks. Them old age problems.
You're younger than me.
I know I
You're
am.
the youngest one here.
I am the youngest one in here. That is true.
I'm the oldest.
And Rachel is the oldest. But not by much. Because he's right close knocking at that door.
How old are you?
38.
Shh.
How old are you?
I got 9 years on him.
I was fixing to say he's...
I've got 6 on Jared. 6.5.
Yeah.
So it's her.
Jared. Yeah.
When's your birthday?
June 25th, I would say.
Him, me, you.
Alright. Switch hands to the less dexterous hand. I mean, I can still do it with my left hand, but...
Judo chop.
That
It's
should
not how
be.
that goes at all.
It should be okay.
Okay, so now we'll add like a drop or two of each, or...
Yeah, I would start with a couple of drops of each.
Okay, do I need to shake it up or anything?
You'll have to snip the tip, probably.
Shake shit up.
Yeah, you'll have to snip the tips because you haven't.
Snip the tip.
Oh.
But yes, you can shake it if you want to.
Okay, so shake those up real quick. And for this, we will use our handy dandy
Notebook? Oh,
hobby
sorry.
hobby tool. That
She said no book.
this is the wrong series. We don't do that.
It's a Mac. It's a Mac. It's a Mac.
Scissors work better.
Yeah, I'm starting to think that scissors or snippers
Yeah.
Right?
might work a little bit better. So see which is closer.
How long's your work time with this?
I don't know, but probably not long enough.
Depends on the resin. The stuff that I got at home, it's got like a 40-minute work time.
Oh, okay. I don't know how long. I don't remember how long the work time on this one was. Okay, there's the green.
Doesn't say.
There's
Might-
the blue.
I don't remember there being a book with directions on.
Nope, there wasn't. Which
Wish
is,
you the best of luck.
You are the book, right?
yeah, I think that's pretty much the way they looked at it. Was,
Oh no, 40 minutes work time. You got plenty of time.
okay, we've got time. Okay, so we're gonna go
I found it. It's on the bottle.
drop, drop, and droop, droop,
He said droop, droop, and drop,
and
drop.
we're gonna put the lids back on them.
Here.
Bloop, bloop, bloop.
and we're gonna start.
But you can actually use all kinds. You can use even food coloring, long as it's not the water-based food coloring. You can use acrylic paints. You can use pretty much anything to actually dye.
Yeah.
I've got mica powder at the house that I've used that to dye it.
I've seen that the acrylic paints don't completely
That's a really pretty
mix
blue.
perfectly, and it's a very pretty blue. But I'm thinking we may end up having to go with a couple more drops of
It does
green.
look like
Okay.
a melted Jolly Rancher.
Looks tasty.
Those dog
Bloop bloop bloop.
I
There
told
we
you,
go.
that's why I was like, what in the world is going on out there? I
And
wonder
we're
if the
gonna-
coyotes came up.
That's a possibility.
Like I said, I would put a few drops, put a little bit in there.
And it's going to be darker in the cup than it's going to be on the.
Correct.
It looks like swamp green now.
And that's kind of what I'm going for, is sort of a dirty water green. Do we have a
Thunderbird.
brown?
We do have a brown.
You're
I think.
going for like Dirty Bird color?
Yes. Here's a brown.
Not
Let me
quite
see here.
not quite
Clippers.
dirty bird, but probably something more
Swamp.
akin to like Tin Killer or something like that.
I mean,
Swamp
the only
type.
reason why that lake is so gets dirty is because when people get in it, it throws all that dirt up.
So a combination of blue, green, and now brown. And I think we're finally getting into that dirty watercolor that the great state of Oklahoma is known for.
You know what's bad is this state has the worst colored water I've ever
It-
seen.
Probably, yeah, but at the same time, whenever you have an entire state of lakes that are not natural,
It's just
you
the
kind of just
clay.
you kind of just go with what you got, and that red clay does not help.
No.
Yeah, that red clay does kind of
All right, so
suck.
You can just take some off the deal and drip it on there to see if that's about the color you want.
and I don't think that's right where I'm going for. Again, it's darker in the cup, so I say, just me personally, I say we're gonna go with
A couple more shots of green.
a couple more, or
You don't want more than like
3 and maybe 2. Bloop, bloop. And we'll see if that combination helps.
no, you don't want to put too much pigment in there because then that
Then
can
it'll- yeah.
it can separate the resin and it's not gonna seal it right.
And that's not what we want. We want it to seal correctly because we want it to end up looking pretty. Even though it's going to be meant to have dice thrown around on it and stuff like that, we still
Now
want
it
it
looks
to.
black.
Again, it's darker in the cup than it is done on the
I'm
tray.
looking at the stick.
Yeah.
It's lifting the stick out.
And on the camera, it definitely looks a lot darker than it
I'm
does
not, I can't see.
in front of me, but couple droops there. Let's scoop it back up. And I think this will be about good as far as color goes.
And then just you're better if you pour slowly
And so we're gonna.
because if you pour slowly, then you're gonna get less bubbles in it.
Jazza taught him something.
Ooh, not what I was going for, but
Yeah, it's also gonna be the bottom layer too.
yeah.
Yeah, and pouring over the stick is good because then that helps with.
Reducing bubbles as well.
Yes.
I didn't learn that one from Jazza. I learned that one from Boylai Hobby Time.
I like him.
I
I
enjoy.
found him the other day.
I enjoy Boylai's stuff. North of the Border stuff is really good too.
There's a couple of them that I found the other day. There was Wyatt got all excited because I had one going, and they had made the one creature from Subnautica. He had made it for them.
Yeah.
Wyatt was all excited. He's like, oh.
Okay. So
Now you're gonna have to make another one.
no, I think what I'm actually going to do is I'm
You
going
can use the
to
stick and spread it out.
start spreading a bit with the stick. Could I let gravity take hold and
You can. You can actually take the tray and
just wobble it around
Yeah.
until.
You can wobble it around some.
Okay, so now we're
It
gonna.
almost looks like, well, it did almost look like American.
You can actually, you know, the pour painting, you can
Mhm.
actually do that with resin,
Oh, okay.
which I'm gonna do. I just haven't got there yet. I have one of the little,
Pour painting.
Right.
I have one of the little canvases I bought from Dollar Tree.
Which I will say, I do find it intriguing that the Dollar Tree has upped
Craft.
their craft stuff. They have definitely stepped up the game whenever it comes to crafting.
We might need to make
Because
more.
now they've started incorporating a few different things in that I didn't think they were going to. And actually, no, I think this will be just at enough. And truthfully, I think the second layer is going to need to be
You're gonna need more.
about even to this one to get it to where I want the pour to be. Because again, I don't want it to be super deep just because of what
I kind of like that.
it's meant for. And truthfully, just like this actually works really well too. And so once it cures, I might end up just saying bugger on it, leaving it like it is.
You should probably put at least a clear level on top.
Okay, so
Cover up the bushes.
You want
in
to
the
at least cover up the bushes so that it'll roll properly.
middle. Right.
yeah.
Then it'll give it some more depth.
If you want, when you go to do that, I'll bring my stuff over so that we have a bigger amount.
He needs like little fish. You can put in there like little Nemos.
Well, now that I have already
Like-
poured this, I don't think it's going to work for this one. However, at some point, I do have 2 more of these trays, and I will end up doing another one.
Okay, so
While you, Rachel, can you scoot this?
I know one of mine is going to, one of the ones I want to do is going to be more of a, like a park scene.
okay,
So that one's not going to require any resin, but it will end up having like a little bell in the middle that you can roll the die and ding the bell. Because I have a bell in there that would work perfect for it. So now that I've got this done,
just
do I need to plug in the heat gun?
yeah.
and
See, you got some.
start working the bubbles out of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to unplug the hot wire tool because now it is not in use or of use currently.
The brown on the base helped get you your color, but
It
I think
did.
that color looks good.
And truthfully, I think for what I was kind of wanting, the brown in the bottom, even though you can see some of the areas where that glue has started to reactivate from putting all of that down, you can see the dirt level.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like the dirt, the dirt coming out.
Like I said, I would put clear on top, at least enough to cover.
Another layer on top that is
Cover-
clearer or just clear in general.
You can, I mean, you could do just clear in general. Maybe put a little bit of.
Depth, too.
Huh?
To give more depth too. A little better.
Okay. So first things first.
Yeah, like to do depth, you put the darkest color on the bottom and then go lighter as you're going up.
Okay. Now, roundabouts, what temperature do I need? Because I know. Okay. This is fully cold,
You don't want cold, you want warm.
so I want it hot,
Yeah,
but I don't want it heavy in blow strength,
correct.
so I don't need max strength.
No. Because it's going to move it around some. Why not?
And that might help push some of it into the other areas that
Yeah.
I was wanting it. Which I think once I'm done with it, I'll end up adding like water effects along the shoreline or something. But
Do I need to get some of the water effects stuff on Friday? Which more? I was going to get some anyway.
I think I have some somewhere. And I know I've seen a lot of artists like what's his name? Something Luke ends up using like PVA or Mod Podge to do it. Oh, look, that's a hair. I don't think that belongs in there.
No, that's why I put that. Look, there's another one.
And how do you know whenever the bubbles are gone?
You didn't see any. And you may do it and then have to come back a little bit later and do it again. And you're gonna need to let it sit.
At least 24 hours.
This says cures in 12. So
Here's in 12 hours. Man, you weren't kidding, honey. It does stink. So definitely make sure you wear
you should really wear a respirator.
or face covering of some sort when you're working with it.
Can you open that window, Chaz?
And work in a well-ventilated area, which for us, we are in a larger room, but
Yeah, you want.
we still want to make sure that we're in a more ventilated area if possible.
You get over here. That's where.
And I know some bubbles won't be too bad as far as
Yeah.
what I'm going for on the bottom. I know on the top I want all of the
That means
bubbles.
you got the light bulb.
Come on that edge.